in a meeting. Hi, Doreen, you okay?
Hello there. Yes, I'm fine, thank you. You?
Yeah, good, thank you. Do we know if the police are turning up and Tesco and
No, I
probably won't turn up?
haven't. I haven't had confirmation from Councillor Donaldson. So
Okay. Eddie's here.
Hello.
Hi, Eddie, you
hello
right?
there.
Hi. Nice to meet you all. Good to see you again, Councillor.
Hi, Eddie, you right? Sent
yeah.
you an email about what was it? Yeah, that Whirly Birch allotments, because we're waiting on the Allotments Association or whoever the national governing body to give the go ahead.
Yeah.
I keep getting chased on that.
I'll chase that up for you.
Yeah, if we can, Joe Hayden used to be every month. He used to get an email about it.
I'll track that down. That's all good. How's things?
Yeah,
Some,
good, thank you.
Bit tragic incident in one of the parks this week, weren't there?
In the parks.
Yeah, one of there was a bit of an
All green.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Oh, yeah. I don't think it was the. Oh no, yes, yeah. Kind of. It doesn't look like the police are here, and it doesn't look like the representatives from Tesco are here. But I can deal with Tesco quite easily myself. And then the police one, obviously, I can't for obvious reasons. I'm not a police officer.
Has Bob got this invite? Bob Chen? Yes.
Yeah, he knows about it.
Yeah, he's got it. He spoke to me earlier on today. He should be here soon.
Yeah, that's fine. Just waiting for our chair. Councillor Donaldson, I don't know where she's gone. Then we can start on time. You're not recording it, are you, Doreen?
Yeah, but I can just delete all this bit. Yeah.
Yeah, delete all this bit. Don't let that go out in the open.
Yeah. and you both have to approve it before it goes out anyway. So
I know, but we don't want to watch it for 2 hours or however long it is. We're safer, Masood. Don't let them in yet. Let Donaldson come because he might know who the people are. I don't know who they are. Doesn't ring a bell. But Bob's here. Okay, Bob.
Sorry, my microphone. Hello. So what's the Councillor, what's the format for this? Is there
Format
a
will know
long
once
agenda?
once the chair's here because Donaldson chairs, but we think there is no representative from the police or Tesco today.
Oh, right.
So I'm afraid it's just yourselves.
Yeah.
We don't get a high attendance of the public, although there's one waiting in the lobby, so we'll invite them in.
Yeah.
And then we just normally give an update as to the work that's been done in the ward, and then we just move on to the item agendas. And then more than likely we'll take yours first because it gives you both. I don't want to keep you here all Friday afternoon. So what I'm proposing to do, let me just call Diane.
Doreen, it's
Yep.
Are you Councillor Doreen or a member of the community?
No, not at all. Oh. Not at all. For my sins. I'm a neighbourhood action coordinator, so I work with the NDSU, and I have 2 roles. One is the governance role for 13 wards, And then I've got the Neighbourhood Action Coordinator role specifically for Bawdsey and Highgate, and Bawdsey Heath West as well.
Excellent. Yeah, the
And,
name to,
and then 13 other ward forum governance meeting.
yeah,
well.
no, nice to meet you.
And nice to
Good to
meet you as well. Hi.
Hi.
So I've tried to call Councillor Donaldson, the chair, but I've not had a response. I'm just mindful we have got people here at the meeting who have come for the 3 o'clock scheduled start. So I think it's best if we start the meeting, given that.
Yes,
When
I think
when the
so,
chair
yeah.
does come, we can invite her in. So I'm just looking at the agenda. I don't think we've got a representative from the police today. Can't see anyone. No, so we'll have to just wait to see if someone turns up. The next item is Tesco. I don't think we've got anyone from Tesco here either. Nope. So, I mean, I can give an update on Tesco anyway. So for the last 6-7 months, we've been doing a significant amount of work with Tesco. We're quite lucky that we've had the National Crime Reduction Manager, Anthony Toplis, doing some work with us. Actually, I just realised, sorry, I've got officers here for the next item, which is the can you put the agenda up, Doreen? I can't find it here.
I've got a copy of agenda here.
Yeah, do you want to? Yeah,
it's
number 6.
It's what point are you looking at? Sorry.
So we've gone through Tesco. I can give an update on Tesco because hopefully someone will turn up from
We've
Tesco.
got the local police updates. Representative from Tesco, Stechford Lane, public open space.
Okay, I'll start on Stechford Lane public open space because I've got the interim head of parks here, the Cllr, and Robert Churn, who's the head of landscape practice group at Birmingham City Council. So the reason that's on the agenda is because, as you're all probably aware, we've got about, I think it's about £165,000 from the former Beaufort Sports and Social Club Section 106 development, because we've had new properties built there. And the money from there was going to be used at the Stechford Hall Park, which is right opposite. Unfortunately, despite our valiant efforts, it's come to conclusion that it's probably going to be too difficult to build on that site because it used to be an old landfill site going back 40-50 years, and there is a risk of, I think it's methane gas, I was told, or some other instrument that we don't want coming into the air. So if we were to dig a hole, then it would cause a problem. So the nearest site to that, we've had a look at 2 sites where we could spend the money because it has to be on a green space. The 2 sites that we've had a look at and spoken to officers, one was on Bromford Road, the green space at the junction of Bromford Road and Cllr Road, opposite Hunter's Moon. But given the proximity of the flats there, it was advised that's probably not the best place for that investment to take place because of potential risk of antisocial behaviour. So the next piece of land that we found that we could work on, and something that we've been trying to push anyway, because it's a good access point from behind the Raven pub as well on Hodgehill Road, is the former fairground site on Stechford Lane, just behind. So it's the Iron Lane, isn't it? It's Iron Lane where we've had all those works to the roundabout. So the proposal now is to have use that site there, have some trees and some greenery planted, and also have an outdoor gym and also swings, a small play area for children. So effectively, what we were going to do at Stechford Hall Park, say for the football pitch that we were trying to get installed there, we're just going to have a sort of larger scale playground area. Bob, do you have that the plan that you sent to me last week? Is it possible you can share? Sorry, if you can share that with us.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to run through a little bit of PowerPoint, Councillor?
Yeah, if you
And
can, yeah, I'll hand over to you then, Bob. That's fine.
I can do that.
I'll put myself on mute.
Councillor Majid, can we just go through the notice of letting people know about the recording of meetings, just to be sure that everybody is aware of the structure?
Oh, you can't, Councillor, you're muted. Yeah.
So I can do that for you.
Yeah, thanks, Doreen. Yeah, Doreen, do you want to go through the notice of recording then, please?
Yes. So the notice of recording is: meeting. The chair should advise members of the press or public may record and take photographs, except where there are confidential or exempt items. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Doreen. So essentially, this meeting is being recorded. So if you don't want to share, then you can take the camera off and obviously the mic as well if you don't want to speak on. But anything that is said and shown on this meeting will be there. I'm going to hand back over to Councillor Donaldson, who is the chair of the ward forum. I believe she was at the funeral for former MP Terry Davis. Condolences obviously to Diane and the family of Terry Davis as well, who played a huge role in the Hodgehill constituency whilst he was an MP. Dan, we jumped the agenda because there was no representative from the police and we haven't got a representative from Tesco. What I suggested was, because we've got Bob, who's the head of landscape practice at BCC, and we've got Eddie Curry, the interim head of parks at BCC, if we can just move on to the Stechford Hall public open space. Is that okay? And Bob's going to go through a presentation.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dan.
Okay, yes. Thank
Bob,
you,
do you want to carry on then, please?
Yeah, thank you for chairing in my absence. Fine, so we'll carry on. Next is Robert Churn, is that correct?
Yep. Okay, I shall pick that up. I'll just share my screen. I've got a little, so it's a short presentation, but this is really just an introduction, as Councillor Mahmood was saying earlier, to this project. So this is just to sort of set things in motion. So I will share my screen. There we go. Right. Okay. Right. This is the just shows you the plan and the location. So you've got Stechford Road running up here, Stechford Lane, and this is Burney Lane going up this way. This is the Stechford Hall Park site where Councillor was talking about, this site of where there's a historical landfill site here. And this is where we were going to originally direct the money, because the Beaufort development, where we're getting some of the money from, it is just across the road here. So this was the sort of logical location. But once we got into the detail and we're looking at the ground investigations, etc., there's a lot of work to resolve and confirm before we're able to do much in this site. So rather than let the money just lie idle, Councillor Mahmood has asked us to sort of see if we can focus on delivering some improvements to this space down here, which is known as Stechford Lane public open space, and it runs at the start of the Cllr Valley cycle route, which runs down here. So it's not too far from where there's an existing play area in Stechford Hall Park to get round to this site here. So it's quite conveniently local. So that's the sort of context of where it is. Now, we did a bit of work a few months ago in looking at costs for various facilities. And so I'll just show you a few slides of the sorts of things that our service can provide on these areas of open space. So starting off with children's play areas. So the next slide is, now why didn't that go on to the next slide? Sorry. I'll just have to double click, I think. Yeah. So on this slide here, there's 3 examples of the sort of scales of play facilities that can be provided. So when you've got a sort of a large sum of money, over 250,000 for play alone, those sorts of sums of money, you can deliver larger facilities. And if I just zoom in there, because I'm not sure how big this is appearing on your screen, but this is just some examples of a large scale, sort of like a major development. And then for the slightly smaller, modest play facilities that still provide good play value, but are a reduced scale, but will provide play for children of ages up from about 6 up to 14 years of age, so sort of juniors. That would be in that region of 180 to 200. And then for the more toddler play areas, for the smaller children, you're looking at something in the region of 100 to 110. So you've got fewer bits of equipment, and it's more aimed at younger children, so smaller and less adventurous, if you like. So that's some of the options. The other facilities that we looked at are outdoor gym facilities, and these are quite popular across the city. We've just put some into Small Heath Park, which has proved very popular, and again, you can scale it down or up depending on what you want. You can have, as the first example show, items that have got moving parts, and you can also have these what are called calisthenics, which are more sort of fitness, sort of aimed at sort of more adults wanting to sort of build up their sort of strength, and these have got a sort of a mixed use. These ones with the moving parts, which can have a sort of a play value, as well as fitness and health benefits. So again, the fewer the pieces, the more affordable it is, and then as you go up, you can put in bigger stations with up to 7 pieces of equipment, and the budget estimates for that are a bit higher. And then other facilities that we put into these situations are places, social spaces, places where people can sort of meet, have a picnic, have a chat, keep an eye on their children as they're running around playing in the park. And so we've got like different types of picnic benches and street furniture, varying shapes and sizes. And then, of course, with anything like this, we're looking at providing places to deposit litter, and that helps keep the site tidy, as well as helps the service, in terms of clearing up and emptying bins, etc. It's all held in one place. So there's street furniture, and then there's things like signage and notice boards, etc., that can go up. Now, when I looked at Stechford Lane, this used to be the Showman's Ground area, and it's since been had some of the land taken up with the sort of the new slip road on the road up to Iron Lane, and it's been laid out as a sort of a meadow area. Now, a colleague of mine has put together a concept plan, which I'll share now, and this just gives some sort of ideas of what can be achieved on the site. So we're looking at some of those facilities that I mentioned to you previously, around the children's play area, picnic areas and fitness equipment. And this is just a sort of a concept to show how this might look on site. So you've got if I run my cursor here, this is the Cole Valley Cycleway up here. It's the main road. The entrance to the site is here. And so there's a big field in this area, and so there's opportunities for sort of putting in picnic benches, and then sort of more of this formal gym area and children's play. So you can have those sort of three elements working together to provide a good recreational facility within the park. Now this graphic just shows by necessity is quite large. The actual area where these facilities will be built will probably be a bit smaller and a bit closer to the path in reality when we come to do the detailing. But it's also been designated, this area, as an area for nature recovery for the city. We've got the City of Nature plan, and one of our key aims is to try and restore some of the sort of natural habitat that is around and is goes through the city to try and improve its the amount of nature that people can see and enjoy within the city. So we would be looking at converting some of this site into sort of meadows, some tree planting, so we can get some nice blossoms and colour and attract birds and bees, etc., into the site. And then with that, there's opportunities to play around with the landform and create more natural play areas alongside the formal play areas, and that will allow children to run around, jump up and down on sort of logs and mounds of earth, etc. So it's just a little concept there to show you what sorts of things can be achieved. And then finally getting to the sort of nitty gritty of it. We're looking at the budgets and what we've got to spend. We've got a bit more than Councillor Mood suggested earlier, because there's several accounts that can be used in the Hodgehill area that we've got. The monies are generated through planning agreements, and it's called Section 106. This money is made available through our service, who respond to planning applications, and we are able to request and direct monies towards improvements within the vicinity of any development that's taking place. And there's this example, there's Bromford Inn site was developed, and the Coleshill Road Sports and Social Club was developed, and so we've got money to direct back into the community. So at the moment we've got about £230,000, or sorry, £265,000, because we've got the remnant from the Bromford Inn money and monies from the Beaufort Sports and Social Club. Now, just the example that I've given you, and I've just put some rough costs down here that where we might be able to afford providing these facilities. So a play area in that sort of middle range, you're looking at about £140,000. You've got I've missed the naught off there, just stick that in as we speak. And then outdoor gym, I'm missing my naught stuff, is on the higher range. You're looking at potentially £30,000. Site furniture, that's all the signage, litter bins, and landscaping, which could include paths, around about 40,000. I've left us a residue here for revenue, because anything that we put in to a site, we've obviously got to look after, and that takes up revenue, and we're allowed to allocate some of this money towards looking after what we install, and the more we install, the more it costs, the more we have to draw on the monies to pay for the future management. So there are options available for us to look at ways of trying to sort of maximise that revenue and minimise costs elsewhere to try and support the project. But that comes later when we look at the detail. So I think that's probably enough talking for me from now. But if there's any questions, I'm happy. I'll put the picture back on, but I'm happy for people to fire away some questions.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you for the excellent presentation. That looks really good. I've got Councillor Mahmood has his hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Bob.
Yeah.
For the presentation. It's something that we've been chasing for a number of years now. It's unfortunate that we couldn't do any build at the Bromford Park, Stechford Hall Park, whatever you prefer to call it, because of the issues around the ground there. But obviously going forward, we want to make sure that's still safe for people to use as well. So we would want to give people the opportunity to at least use it as a park for picnics and be able to walk through it, etc. going forward. In terms of this particular project, it captures the three themes that we wanted, which was a picnic area for people to rest and sit, because it is used as a walkway as well. When you connect, you haven't got it on the map here, but it connects all the way through the woodlands, and there's actually an access all the way through to Solihull. There's a bicycle route there as well, and there's a walking path as well. So you can actually jump onto this area by going behind the Raven pub on Hodgehill Road as well. So the children's play area, picnic area, and an outdoor gym area, because obviously that would help those. We want to encourage people to get fit, and not everyone can afford the fees at the gym. So I think that's something that we do need to push forward. Just one small request. I didn't realise we had this amount of money from Bromford in as well. We've got an issue on Hodgehill Common. I have asked Mike Hinton to get me a quote, because there's cars parked illegally at the bottom as you come onto the common, and they're causing antisocial behaviour. This morning when I went there for a walk, there was quite a lot of litter as well, and spoke to one of the residents. He told me that's because people are parked up in cars and it's not stopped that problem. So we do need to, it's the only green space that hasn't got any logs or trip rails around it, and that's because we allowed Cllr to use it for some works when they installed the new street lights on Hodgehill Common. But if we could, if we can't find any other pot of money for that particular project, I don't mind if we take some money out of this project to get that trip rail. It probably cost a couple of hundred. It's not going to be an extortionate cost. In terms of this park and what we're trying to do, what would be the timelines in getting this constructed? And the second part is, what else could we do in terms of getting that connectivity with the bicycle lane and the walkway all the way through to the other side of Hodgehill as well? Thank you.
Okay. If I I'm hoping I've got I've got my Google Maps up, so we can stretch out a bit. If you can see that, so there's the Stechford Hall. This was the development that gave rise to the money, this little housing development here. And then, as Councillor Mahmood says, this is the Coal Valley cycle route that runs right through and eventually ends up in Solihull. And then you've got Glebe Farm around here. So it is connected to a wonderful sort of wildlife corridor, and the river valley. So there's lots of recreational opportunity there. So yes, so the connection is it's just building it close to this. So as people come down here, there's a nice stop off point at this site. So there should be plenty of footfall coming through here. So it's a nice place to end up.
Thank you. Bob, can I just ask about the connectivity going the other way as well? Because if you cross it over you cross the A4040, the other side, the cycle lane continues, and that continues right down and to the Coventry Road, Hay Mills, almost reaching the Asda. Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's
yeah,
something that,
yeah.
you know, that a lot of people, can we connect that way as well?
I think we can. It's a very busy junction here.
Yeah.
So we haven't really got resource within this money to put crossovers and
Okay,
things
maybe.
in here. But it is something that I think can be sort of considered for the future. But within the resource we've got, we wouldn't. That would be probably prohibitive at the moment. But we can talk to Highways about what their future plans are for that. For you know, it is getting across from here.
And you know,
to
there's a
here,
lot
isn't
of
it? Yeah.
houses over the other side where to open it up to children from those areas as other areas, so maximising this of it as well.
Yeah.
I think. Well, thank you.
Okay.
Irfan, did you want to ask a question? I noticed you had your hand up earlier.
I did, but Councillor Majid Mahmood covered off really what I was going to ask to see if there was any possibility to utilise some of the funding available for two things. Initially was the area that Councillor Mahmood touched on at the bottom, and also the actual Fruit and Nut Village Park we're trying to develop on Hodgehill Common, but it's okay. The question's been asked.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to check that it'd been answered. Fine. Any other questions or comments? Mr.
Hi, it's Masood. Masood, yes.
Masood,
just that it's related to the Hodgehill Common again, because we have a constant problem of the rubbish being dumped. I've reported a couple of things a few weeks ago. It never got picked up. Then I've reported it again yesterday. Finally, it's been removed today. It's just that wedge on the common. There was an old car park. We've highlighted that in previous meetings as well. But it's a constant problem. It's right under the nose of the camera that the council has. I don't know if council has managed to quote somebody, or it's just reoccurrence. Every couple of weeks there's a big chunk left there. Sometimes there's mattresses, furniture. There was a fridge left a couple of days ago, and there's a pile of like toys from the kids. So just wondering if you had any plans, any updates on what's going to happen about the issue.
Right, I'll pass over to Councillor Mahmood, the Cabinet Member for the Environment.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jose, for the question. It's something that we've been tackling ever since I've been a councillor in 2011. We initially closed off the car park because of the antisocial behaviour that was taking place in the late afternoons and evenings. It was quite horrific what was taking place there. So we managed to close it off initially. Then we've had problems with fly tipping, and there's a number of residents on Hodgehill Common who report the fly tipping. So we managed to get a camera 3 years ago. That was the first time we got it, and we did catch some people, and they have been prosecuted. And recently, I think it was the last 6-7 months, we managed to get the camera back again. Yes. And there are some live cases, but we're not allowed to talk about the live cases because there's investigations taking place. Right. But it's a constant headache for me as much as it is for yourselves. But we've got the camera. And we have been speaking to the Friends of Hodgehill Common and not fans here, who do a terrific job in maintaining the common and supporting the city council. And I think Irfan could probably help. Is that the part of the common that you're looking to convert to a fruit and nut village? So we can. So that's a project that both myself and Dan are very supportive of. And I think what we do need to, just based on the evidence we have other parts of the city, until you make that a particular area which is prone to fly tipping more accessible and open to the public, then it may continue the problems we've got. The reason it's there is because there's, other than the camera, there's no other coverage there. A car can come in the night and just dump anything. I mean, bear in mind, Uzaifa, we have a tip literally less than a mile away, so a person can go there and empty their contents. And we have trucks come in once a month in the ward. So this is a criminal act that's taking place. But I'm happy, Dan, if we can get Irfan to speak, if that is the part that they're looking, because that was the early discussions we had many months ago. So hang on, I think he was taken out. Let's bring him back in again. Is he back? Irfan, do you want to just update us? Is it the old car park you're looking at for
that's right. I think there's a couple of things to be addressed here. Josepha and myself, our concern is as follows. We do not want to know who's being prosecuted, but it would be great to know when we reported it, and I can honest, about 4 people have confirmed they've reported the fly tipping at least twice. So to appease residents, all we need is confirmation that it's been received, right? That's a great start. Not an automated email, something that goes out and saying, look, we know it's there. We know it's been reported. It's going to take us 2 weeks to pick it up. That would bring a smile to people's faces that at least it's getting dealt with. We know the pressures that the council is under. So our first concern is we report it via the council website or Fix My Street, and then we have no idea if anyone's got it, if anyone's dealing with it. Secondly, we would like to know if the camera has picked it up, not if anyone's getting prosecuted, what their person's name is. That obviously we've got personally identifiable information. They have the right to presume innocence until proven guilty and all that stuff. I recognize that, but at least letting us know that we've got a camera, it's working, we saw who dumped it, and we're going to investigate. That would be sufficient for residents to realize that actually this is a worthwhile exercise. In regards to that area of the dumping is exactly what we're trying to turn into the fruit and nut village or some kind of pocket park. That was going to be my question to Rob and yourself. Is there any way some of the funds being channeled towards the Stechford Lane open space could be utilized for something that is not going to be costly, because it's mainly tree planting, and I'm sure you're aware of the fruit and nut villages. Really, there isn't significant infrastructure, so you know, some of the estimates we were getting were around £30,000, so it's not significant compared to the open space for a complete project to be completed here. We are looking at other means of funding, but without that funding we aren't really going to get anywhere, and we haven't got any funding at the moment. I understand the commercial pressures the council is under as well. So the answer to your question is yes, that is the space. Our intention is to try and change it. We've got some hoops to jump through, because it's obviously a park that is it's actually the charities committee that has to approve any of that, so we're aware of that. So if you could come back, Councillor Mahmood, in regards to, is there a way we could be notified that yes, your report of fly tipping has been received and we will look into it, but we're under the cosh, we can't do anything right now. And secondly, when you do identify a vehicle or a person, to at least let us know, look, there's an ongoing investigation. Those two things would appease a lot of residents.
Yep. Sorry, just a quick one. In regards to Councillor Majid, you know, you've mentioned obviously there's a dump literally half a mile. I mean, this is my personal thinking, because since council has, you know, like the dumping areas, they've started asking for IDs and you have to book your slot, because previously it was just open, you could just drive down anytime and you can just unload your stuff. But now, since that's happened, I think a lot of people are not really bothered to do that, and most of the time these people come from other areas, like they just dump and then they leave. So this is my personal assessment, maybe I'm wrong, but I think since this has happened, a lot of dumping has risen by a lot of percentages compared to before. So I don't know, what are your thoughts on this?
Did I take all 3 questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should takes Zora next.
Okay.
Oh,
And then
hi. Hello. Zora here. I live in Hodgehill Common too. Just to add from what Irfan was saying, I just want to add that I've actually had a really positive experience when reporting fly tipping. I actually set some CCTV evidence where we had the license plate of the perpetrator, and I got a phone call and an email saying that they were going to proceed with prosecuting this individual, and because they had so much evidence, really, because they had a picture of him and his vehicle registration number as well. So it does happen that it is reported. The other point that I just wanted to really flag up is that I feel that there seems to be a lack of neighbourhood police presence on Hodgehill Common. It's a very dark road. I mean, well done to the street lighting, that has helped, but it seems to be a through road and it's a very dark road, and I think it encourages certain people to maybe use it as a meeting place, where maybe activities that may not be legal to be carried on. I know that for years I had problems where people were parking on the grass verge. It stopped now, luckily, but they were taking pictures of their cars and selling them. But we still get cars parked there for a number of hours. And I've actually phoned the police because we're all quite a bit nervous, really, especially around this time of the year, around December, January, when a lot of burglaries happen. And I've had people parked outside my home, and I'm thinking, why are they parked there? They're not visiting anybody. I've checked with my neighbors, and the police have come round, but you never ever see a police officer. Maybe, I mean, obviously I realize funding is an issue, but Hodgehill Common is definitely a hotspot for people meeting up and activities happening that maybe shouldn't be happening. Thank you.
Thank you, Zora. If you do see cars left there, if you could let myself or Majid know, we will investigate them and pass any concerns onto the police.
Sorry, just to add, they're not necessarily left there. It's just there's some guys coming, maybe 2-3 cars. What they'll do is they just park in line next to each other and start talking for, like Zora mentioned, for maybe hours, and then obviously sometimes because we don't know who they are, but they know who. Like it could turn into like a confrontation. Because they do take this like. They don't like when somebody comes up to. Sometimes, yes, when we had those, we put some bollards there, so there's no parking happening right outside the con. But like they said further down, it's sometimes difficult for the residents to go up to them and speak to them because sometimes they're under the influence of they're under the influence of alcohol, drugs. So we just want to kind of avoid this scenario where stuff gets out of sort of hand. So they just they park there for hours. They'll just throw their litter, the food, stuff that remains, and then they drive out, which Councillor Majid said he walked down and saw this morning. Well, this is what these guys do.
And to be honest, I shouldn't, but I have confronted them, and I've got video of they're rolling spliffs, they're smoking drugs. I get that happens, but they found a new place and it's become more frequent. We had this problem before, as Josefa was talking about, further up Hodgehill Common, but now it's definitely become a place for them to gather at night, sometimes play music, definitely drop rubbish. Often you can smell, if you approach them, smell smoking some kind of weed or marijuana. So it is becoming a concern for us. No, they are not getting up and causing any criminal damage or anything like that. However, we have in the last 24 months, 12 months had some of that because of a personal conflict on the street. So everyone's a bit nervous. And just on the back of what Zora mentioned, it would be fantastic if that great experience she had with communication could just then be consistent. Obviously, you're hearing from us that have had a poor experience of multiple people reporting something, and then Zora reporting something and getting feedback and response like the ideal. So how do we then make sure the council's response is consistent is, I suppose, all we need to understand.
Okay, thank you, Irfan. Majid,
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'm just going to pick up on all the points that have been raised. And number one, in terms of the CCTV, where there's evidence, as Zora has mentioned, i.e. we have the evidence of the number plate, we do take action. Every single case that comes forward to BCC where there's evidence, we do take action. On a monthly basis, the Licensing and Public Protection Committee do give a detailed breakdown of the investigations and have the ward names, not necessarily the locations, but in terms of the perpetrator, but once they're convicted. As aware with the courts, there is a huge backlog with criminal cases, so it can take up to 2 to 3 years for the case to come to fruition. From my conversation with the officers, I know of at least 2 live investigations that are taking place, and there are more in the pipeline because you physically have to have an officer going through all of the footage to try to locate the person, then decide whether there's enough evidence there to locate the individual and take action. And on a periodic basis, I mean, I can tell you this, 62 people have now paid fines of £1,000 for fly tipping in the city, because we increased the fines from £400 to £1,000 for fly tipping. There's £300 fines that people have also paid in terms of fly tipping as well. So what we'll do at the next ward forum, we can bring all the details for you in terms of what's happened in Bromford and Hodgehill ward and the surrounding areas. So you'll have all the details, because I can just get them compiled by officers from the various committees where these details have to be shown. On the Fruit and Nut Village, what I'll do is I'll have a conversation with officers. It seems to be unanimous here that you want us to do something around the old car park in terms of how we can effectively mix and match, Bob, some of the funding that we've got for the Stechford public open space to Hodgehill Common as well. The tree trail is a priority because we do need to resolve that, like in the short term. The Fruit and Nut Village, we can also speak to Birmingham Trees people, have a good relationship with them. They always have funding available. I can speak to Cllr as well, our highway partners, see if they can do some support. Although they don't have the contract for parks, but they do have the contract for highways. They do have a social responsibility within the contract with BCC, see if we can leverage in some support from them. And Fruit and Nut Village themselves, it's an organisation, and they'll be more than happy to support us. So I'll have that conversation again. We can bring that back, Bob, to the next meeting. Or what I can do is, given that you have meetings as a friends group at Hodgehill Common on a monthly basis, I'll try to bring it to one of your meetings instead. So then you can go through all the details.
I just do want to point out, we have assisted living location at the bottom of Hodgehill Common, and we have a number of residents who are wheelchair bound, and our real ambition is to provide a safe space for them to at least get out the house and enjoy. It's a shame watching people pushing wheelchairs away from the common, because there's no way you can go and enjoy that space. It would be great even if just a small space like the car park was partially accessible. And the only reason I bring it up on this meeting is because of obviously what was said about the Stechford open space. So thank you for considering that.
This is the best place to bring it up anyway, especially when we have some money, unlike other parts of the city where they don't have much Section 106 spend. So we'll take that up for you, because obviously all of us have an interest to minimise antisocial behaviour, and whatever we can do to make a friendly environment for the people of the ward, that's what we've been elected to do. In terms of the slots that was AFA, you brought that up. When we entered in the new contract with Veolia, part of the contract was that we would work on slots. The reason we brought in slots is because of the queuing that we used to get, both primarily in Lifford Lane, which is in Kings Norton area of the city at South Birmingham, but also had an impact in Tyseley and Sutton and in Tameside Drive. And the second part was the IDs were brought in because if you look at the location of the site, it's actually in Castle Bromwich, the rear end. So you used to get lots of people from Solihull using the site. Obviously, your Birmingham City Council taxpayers, the service is for you, not for people who live from outside of Birmingham. And in Lifford Lane, we were getting lots of people coming from Bromsgrove and Warwickshire as well using the site. Again, that's something that we wouldn't want to do. We are looking at some trial periods to see if we can bring back the going away with the slots and stuff, but at the moment Veolia are just conscious of the fact that they wanted to avoid the queues as well that they were getting it previously. It's for your benefit, and at Tameside Drive the slots are readily available. You can actually go every day for a week if you wanted to. The slots are openly available for you. If you ever have a problem with any of the slots, just let us know. Zora, thank you for your comments around the enforcement. So when we had lots of enforcement capacity, I think every single person who put in a complaint did get a personal feedback as to what the outcome was of that complaint. But given that officers are concentrating on the ground and the evidence gathering, I think that's something I'll speak to the head of the enforcement team, see if they can bring that back in. That is something that's really useful. The police were invited to this meeting. They haven't come today. And part of the reason we invited them was because of all the queries that we've been getting from residents around the policing issues. I have got an update on Tesco. I can help out with that. And there's some element of police involvement there where they've supported us. In terms of the cars that are coming to park, if it's just the green space at the bottom, that is a short-term priority. And we have got some residents who live close to where that antisocial behaviour is taking place that are willing to also fund any sort of trip railing there. But obviously, if we can use the money that we already have, then that's better. If not, I can speak to the residents at the bottom as well. It might actually be, Irfan, if we can sort of outsource the job to yourselves as the Friends of Hodgehill Common, because it may actually be cheaper for the Friends of Hodgehill Common to deliver that scheme.
We'd
than
be
it
very
would be,
receptive
yeah,
to that. It
than
just
it would
needs
be from the
someone to
council.
approve that.
Yeah. So that we've got the interim head of parks here today. You're blessed. Eddie Curry is here today, so he may be able to support that initiative. So I'm more than happy to come to the next Friends of Hodgehill Common meeting. The policing issue, we will invite them again to the next meeting, and we can discuss about what powers they have. As a council, we can only take action against cars that are parked if it's either a zigzag or if it's double yellow lines. And if that's something that you guys want us to look at, it's a conversation I could have with highways. You're quite lucky because as a cabinet member for environmental transport, I have the responsibility for parks, for rubbish, and for highways. And most of the queries today seem to be centered around those three areas. So I can have that conversation. Also, there is permit parking, if that's something that you would want in Hodgehill Common. The only consideration we would have to carry out a traffic regulation order. So we would have to consult with the people who use the park for dog walking. I think there is quite a lot that do use the common. And remember, it's a common, so I'm not sure what the legalities are around any sort of new additions we can put into the common, because we would have to get authority from various organisations, including the Trust and Charities Committee and possibly someone national as well. Chair, is it okay to bring in Eddie and Bob just to, and then Cameron as well has probably got a question? Because I know
Fine,
Eddie
yeah,
and Bob
yeah.
need to leave as well soon. Thank you.
Right, okay, Eddie, I'll take Eddie and then Bob.
Sorry about that. Hi, everybody. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to present this project. It's a really exciting and a nice project for the community to get excited about. I'm just wondering whether or not, given that there is, always pressure to deliver lots of projects with the money that is, limited money that's available, whether or not we could potentially use this project as an opportunity to try and apply for some additional grant funding from the private sector. I'm particularly thinking about some grant funds from some landfill tax credit organisations that may well be available in the coming months. It may just delay the timetable a little bit, but it then may be able to release a bit of money from this playground project and put a bit of money into the fruit and nut project or something. So it might just be a little bit of a time delay, but it might just give us an opportunity to maximise the benefits of the available funding. So I just wondered if there's any general support for that sort of strategy.
We would appreciate that, definitely, Eddie, and I speak as the chair of Friends of Hodgehill Common. I think it would also give us an affiliation with the new site, the Stechford open space. We'd make sure people in our locality were utilising that space as well and promote its development along with the car park at Hodgehill Common into an accessible space as well.
Yeah, I think that's good to hear. I think it's there may be a bit of additional consultation work we need to do just to gain some evidence of need for this playground project, and just to demonstrate that the community are supportive for the initiative to help support the funding bid. But I'll pick that conversation up with Rob, and we'll see what we can sort out over the coming weeks.
Thank you, Eddie. Are there any other questions or comments for Eddie before he leaves?
I was just going to say, can we, as a ward forum, we've got Fania and residents of Hodgehill Common, and they're all large support. If we can, as a ward forum, just write to Eddie to inform him that we fully support his suggestion of looking to external funding to add on to the existing funding that we have available. We also we're quite lucky in Hodgehill. We have quite a lot of business people as well, to see if we can speak to them as well, to see if they want. I mean, we don't necessarily have to call it Fruit and Nut Village, do we, Irfan? If we have a sponsor who comes,
absolutely not. It just needs to be an accessible space. Yeah, we need to make the space accessible for people who can walk as well as on wheelchair. That's all. And it's not a significant amount of space either. It's a derelict car park being turned into. We genuinely just thought the cheapest thing would be to plant some nice trees and some plants and get people to have a place to sit down. That's it.
Perfect. No, if we could write to Eddie as the interim head of parks chair that we fully support the idea of looking for external funding.
Right, I've noted that.
And we're open to a name change as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you for coming along today, and you're now free to go. Okay, I'll move over to Bob, and then I'll take Cameron.
Yeah, I just wanted to share the aerial of Hodgehill Common, and then because a lot of what's been discussed, I'm not entirely familiar with. So if I put the aerial photograph on, if people can direct me towards where these issues are, it'll just help when I go out and have a look. So I'll just do that if that's all right. Oh, that was the fund I was looking at. Let's have a look.
That's not the common.
No. One day.
Don't know whether residents would want.
Hang on.
Is it cows or buffaloes in the common?
Well, we get free milk, so it's okay.
So I'm going to stop sharing, find the right file, and come back to you. Just a second.
Right, okay.
Sorry, I'd gone on to something else while I was waiting, and
okay. Shall I take Cameron's question or comment first and come back to that?
I've got it now. I've got it now.
You got it. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. Hopefully it will come up. Right. I'm not sure why that's not share. Oh, here, share. I'll say I've got it in this. There. Right. Sorry, that took a bit of effort. So you mentioned an old disused car park. So I was just wondering, as I wave where I go for that, because this is the common here. I was just wondering whereabouts you might be thinking of. Is it here?
I can't see your cursor. I was just going to. Yeah. Go left to the left.
Go left. Go towards where it says A-star waste removals. On your left, it's just there with that triangle shape. Yeah, further up. So go to the right.
Yeah.
It's just there where you're all that bit.
Oh, in here.
It's not as small as fans suggest. I mean, you could probably get about 20 cars there, I think. So it's not small. It's bigger than the pocket park.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Right. Yeah, because it looks a bit sort of overgrown, doesn't it? Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Okay.
Well, the tarmac's now been partially removed and it's grown over with weeds. So that is, if you see the little indent in the road, that was a gate. And that's where the majority of the fly tipping is happening because there's an indent. There's enough space for someone to park there. And then if you zoom out a little.
Oh, hang on, I'll put my chat back. Yeah. No, I've gone the wrong way, so
that's all right. If you zoom out a little and go to the smaller triangle at the left-hand side note, further to the left, where it said A-star waste removals. And the smallest triangle there, further up, a bit further up, towards Bromford Road. That is where it doesn't have any type of bollards or those little stumps around it, and that's where we're having the majority of the cars park, throw rubbish, damage. So actually, Cllr came back and repaired the damage they had caused to the green area by seeding and levelling, and now that has been damaged again by the cars parking there, driving on there. There's lots of rubbish, and it's immediately affecting the residents to the left because there is music being played, there's smoke, and so on. So
But it's the only section that hasn't got a trip rail. The rest have got logs or trip rails.
So we're looking at, if I turn around,
side,
it's this bit here. This bit
here.
No,
that was it. You just look there.
That bit there. That hasn't got logs or
yeah.
anything on there to prevent parking. And the residents that are onto the right-hand side, all of them have complained about the fact that cars just parked. Not only do they turn up the grass, but they parked there. And you can smell like what they're smoking. And they always throw me litter. Today was quite bad in the sense that there was litter everywhere. Then you get the volunteers picking it up, and it's not fair on them either because they shouldn't really be picking up other people's mess.
As Councillor Manwood said, no, further to the right. Can you know, we're not talking about the bit you're looking at just there. It's to the right where the blue car is. Yeah, that's it. That bit of grass there.
It's all that.
Opposite this little grass here.
All around that bit of grass.
There you can see it now.
Can you see the damage and the blue? So, but if you look further up, they've got little wooden stumps on the next bit, so you can't go and park on the bit further up. And we were hoping that if we could get the go-ahead, we have a regular meet with Hodgehill Friends, or the Friends of Hodgehill Common. We've got lots of volunteers. We have liability assurance from Boss Off, so we could actually just get a community group together to actually install those. But what we're looking for is the go-ahead from the council, and maybe if there is any funding for the stumps, but local residents have actually suggested they would be willing to help fund it if necessary.
And
The
you'd like to
insurance from
keep-
Bossoff is actually insurance from ourselves as the BCC. We
Yeah,
give Bossoff
yeah,
a grant every year, so it's from ourselves as well, just to support the volunteers. But I mean, can we, Bob and Eddie, can we have a conversation of this next week then in the cabinet members briefing, and let's just suggest the best way forward. But we do need to do something like within a week or two. It's been running now for at least 2 months since the parking has got much worse. I think over Christmas it was quite bad as well, but we do need to do something with this. One, to protect the grass as well, and obviously also to prevent.
You see that
antisocial
damage there
behaviour.
on the corner? That was all repaired by Cllr because I raised it with them, and it's a shame that's happened again. That's exactly how it is now, and unfortunately, word seems to have got out. The people, somebody's come, another person's come. Now it's regular cars parked there because, no one's saying anything.
And the other concern I have, which I'll bring up in the next item around Tesco update, is that I think it's a good thing. We've been working with Tesco for the last few months to prevent antisocial behaviour there. So they were getting lots of car cruising in their car park overnight, and then that was spilling onto Coleshill Road and then spilling onto Hodgehill Common. So there's some ANPR cameras that are coming into Tesco car park within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Once they're switched on, anyone who goes there after midnight, it's 15 minutes, otherwise they'll get ticketed. So my fear is a lot of the people that were going to Tesco, more so than now, will probably end up on Hodgehill Common because they realise they'll be getting a ticket at the Tesco car park. So we need to now put measures in place to stop them coming here. Where you've got the arrow, we were supposed to bring all that forward, but that was not last year before, but then Section 151 spend control came in and they stopped it because we needed some money for that. If you remember, Bob, when they were even questioning £5 spend,
Yes,
that's when they stopped it, because we did get an agreement then with Darren Share that he would do that for us to remove that metal gate. But we needed, I think it was about £800 or something, but then obviously it wouldn't go through the Section 151 spend because it was seen as a nice to have as opposed to something that was necessary.
I'm sorry, I know we're going to go to Cameron, but Bob, we have actually had some drawings. We've had community consultation. We had a big summer event on the common, and we asked people to contribute the type of trees they might like to see, their designs. We've had the fruit and nut village come and give us some advice. We've done some digging and samples of the ground there to see what it would take. So we're happy to share all of that information with you.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Cameron's had to leave, but he's put a message in the chat. Is it possible to develop a long-term plan to address fly tipping and antisocial behaviour? Perhaps installing CCTV warning signs could help deter these issues. Also, is there plans to keep the CCTV up?
The CCTV is up for the time being until it's not capturing any more people fly tipping, so it's been constant. The plan to address fly tipping, that's something that we've discussed, but what we will do at the next meeting, I'll bring in the officers for street cleaning, because as you're probably aware, Chair, I don't think we can share this yet in public, but there is a plan in place for the next financial year in terms of tackling the high levels of fly tipping across the city, and there'll be an announcement made at the budget session in 3 to 4 weeks, and Bromford and Hodge will be one of the beneficiaries, given that you're in one of the top 15 most fly tipped wards in the city. So that's actually quite good news for Bromford and Hodgehill.
Brilliant, thank you for that, Majid. Bob, anything you wanted to add before you leave?
No, I mean, I think we'll pause for a bit on the we don't really want to pause. We need to keep moving on the designs for the Stechford Lane, but I'll bear in mind that we might want to keep some of that money back to pump prime a bid for some additional funding. So we're not in a position yet to spend the big money. We're in the sort of this early feasibility stage, so we could use some of that to help with the bid and try and.
There's a funding window that closes mid-February, Bob. So we've got a couple of weeks to get a bid in quite soon, and then it's probably a couple of months by the time we get notification of award. But it's a relatively quick turnaround. So I'll talk to you about it on Monday.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, so don't stop the work at the Stechford public open
Yeah,
space,
no.
because we need to get that delivered, because otherwise we'll
Yeah.
run out of the timing that we've got to
Yeah.
spend that money. But have in mind anything between 15 and 30,000 for the for some work on the disused car park. I don't think it would come to that much, because what we could do is bring in support from external organisations and Birmingham Tree people and Fruit and Nut Village. And also, I know the Combined Authority have some funding for green spaces as well.
Yeah.
So we can leverage in that type of funding as well. But obviously, with the work on such a public open space, it started, don't pause it, whatever you do, just carry on, and we'll sort out the finances for both. But bear in mind, it'll be a twin project now. So I think what we're all in agreement with is we'll have a twin project, one on the old disused car park and one on the open space as well.
Okay.
So we can just have, instead of having that many new trees in the Stechford public open space, we can bring some of the trees into the disused car park and take it from there. And then I'll also speak to Birmingham Tree people as well to see if they can help with some as well.
Okay.
Cool.
And there's definitely no call to have any parking in that space at all.
No, we stopped that years ago. I closed that car park, I think even before Dan was elected, so probably 2013.
Yeah.
I did it because it was Bob. It was, let's just say, it was tantamount to a nightclub sometimes there. So we had to close it.
Fair enough. Okay.
And there's no appetite from anyone who lives on the Hodgehill Common to reopen it.
Yeah. Okay. The other thought I had was, if we're going to sort of convert that from a car park into a natural space, is that we might be able to get, if there's any biodiversity net gain money.
That's what I was thinking.
People want it. Yeah.
And this also helps Simon Needle with his biodiversity net gain targets, that you're taking away effectively a brownfield site and making it to a greenfield site.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks, Eddie. Thanks, Bob.
Okay. Thank you very much.
No, thank you all.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Eddie.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Fine, thank you. We don't have the police in, or anyone from Tesco. So, Maddie, did you want to update on the Tesco store?
So
I don't know
I've been heavily involved with Tesco from the outset, because we had numerous complaints of antisocial behaviour, both at the car park and in the store and outside of Tesco, on Bromford Lane and on Brockhurst Road. It's something that's come up in this ward forum and something that we took up with the community safety team at Birmingham City Council. So we were quite lucky that we managed to get Tesco. I wrote to the chief executive just letting him know the problems that we're facing and that we really need their support from a national perspective. So we got some new managers into Tesco itself, and Anthony Topless, he's the national Tesco crime reduction manager. He came into the meetings, and so did the police to support. And we had representatives from the council, including myself and Diane. And from that, we've managed to do a number of changes to Tesco. You've probably seen them when you go into the car park now. There's a huge CCTV at the entrance of Tesco at the car park, and that's just so that basically take details of anyone with this antisocial behaviour taking place. They also got rid of the trolley section outside external, and they've gated that all up because that was used at night for people just parking, just basically causing a nuisance. So that stopped. And they also got rid of the bollards, which were used where they were involved in intrusive, aggressive begging as well. So they managed to work with the police to get the individual support. Some of them do actually need support to make that happen. And the final stage of this is for them to have the ANPR cameras working, which are automatic number plate recognition cameras. And the proposal is, when the store is open, you can park for 3 hours. And I think that's more than enough for people to shop in. And then between 10 and 12 p.m, because there's still an overflow of customers, you can park for 2 hours, and then an hour. And then between midnight and 6 a.m, when the store is officially closed, it's 15 minutes you can park. And if you park longer than that, then you'll be ticketed by the national company that they use. And that's to stop the car cruising happening at the Tesco, because they did have barriers. You're probably going to ask why the barriers not put down. The reason the barriers weren't put down is because over the last few months, whenever the staff have tried to put the barriers down, the people in the car park have been quite aggressive towards them. So we shouldn't put any staff at risk either. And the police can only be there so many times. And then it was suggested that we bring in the NPR cameras, and the total investment from Tesco, it could be anywhere between 400,000, 600,000 pounds that they've put in with all these additional measures, because you've seen the bollards inside the car park, you've seen the barriers as well. We also removed the charity clothes banks that were there. And again, they were just basically, I think Cameron highlighted about fly tipping. They were used as a fly tipping zone as well. People just coming and dumping other stuff other than clothes. And then you were getting, and this was quite dangerous, you were getting individuals actually going into the clothing back and chucking the clothes out and taking whatever they thought was good and walking. It's highly dangerous. The other piece of the jigsaw that they're doing is, if you see where you've got the small car park as you come in on your left, you've got lots of big bushes, which are overgrown bushes coming onto the road as well. They're going to cut them back as well, so there's more visibility, because in the nights lots of people parking their cars there and causing antisocial behaviour. It has a knock-on effect to Cllr Road, Bromford Avenue, Southbourne Avenue and Hodgehill Common, because a lot of the people that were using the car park, they're blaring out their cars and, you know, just speeding or revving their engines on Cllr Road. It's not good for people who are trying to go to sleep, and Hodgehill Common as well. So I'm really thankful to Tesco. It's a shame nobody could attend the meeting, but you know, I think as a ward forum, we should write to them and just thank them for all the support that they've given. And I'm happy to do. I've got to do a letter to the chief executive anyway, following my initial letter, which kicked this off, was to thank them. And I'm happy to take on board, you know, comments and from the members of the public here from Bromford and Hodgehill as well.
Well, if you do publish anything, I'm happy for it to publish on our communication groups, and the same with Hodgehill Arts Forum and Hodgehill Clean and Green, who we have regular meetings with as well. I'm happy to share any comms you publish with other local community groups.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Okay, thank you, Majid. Any other business?
We didn't do the local update because
I didn't know.
the funeral. So
yeah.
I'm happy to go through the local update. So this just so we give an update of the work we've done since the previous ward forum meeting, which I respect the fact that some of you weren't at the previous ward forum, so I can just go into the work that we've done since. So finally, we've managed to get the pedestrian handrail and speed cushions installed on Collingbourne Avenue. If you're aware, there was 2 serious road traffic accidents that took place on Chipperfield Road, which is just off the back of Collingbourne Avenue. And we've got the pedestrian refuge installed there. There's a number of other works that we've put in through the Environment Transport Neighbourhood Fund. Is £80,000 we get from that. That includes the extension of the raised curbs on Southbourne Avenue and some work on Kempson Park Road as well, and the continuation of the scheme on Collingbourne Avenue. And we're looking at the highway projects. I think Cllr Road is one where we get a number of complaints around the speeding. We have installed pedestrian islands and also on Heathway, those 2 roads. And there's, you know, a request for the highway speed enforcement cameras. Unfortunately, to get those funding for those cameras, you need to show some serious road traffic accidents. I don't think we've had any on Cllr Road. Washwood Heath Road, there has been some fatalities. So if there was funding available through national, more than likely it would be Washwood Heath Road who would benefit from that funding. But we're still looking to see what we can do. We have increased the police speeding enforcement. I've attended one exercise myself with them in my capacity as a cabinet member for environment and transport. There was another speed enforcement exercise yesterday. The day I was there, they caught 13 people. That was between 2 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So imagine how many you would catch at different times. But I'm happy to work with residents in the sense that the West Midlands Police Crime Commissioner, he's purchased some speed guns. With those, you don't actually prosecute the drivers. You just send them a letter to their house to say that on this day you were caught speeding, and, you know, just basically be careful with your driving, because next time you may be a speed enforcement vehicle and you will be ticketed on that. We did have a number of trees that came down during the previous storm. At this moment in time, I've not had any reports of any trees coming down now. We had one down just around the corner from Hodgehill Common, actually, on Cllr Road. We had one down on Vetnor Avenue. There was one on Ermington Crescent. There's one, I think it was Westbourne Avenue as well. So we had 4 that have come down. All the, you know, highways partners here came out quickly and made the area safe. The only issue we did have was on Cllr Road, where lots of drivers ignored the fact that we're asking them to go down Hodgehill Common because it was safe. They continued and they did cause some damage. Some of the grass verges on Cllr, which Cllr obviously looking into going forward. The retrofit, that's when we retrofitted a lot of the council properties. There's about 300 that benefited from that on the Bromford and Firs estate. We're looking to see if we can bring that back. There is some funding available through the combined authority. So we are having discussions to see if we can bring that to those properties that missed out, which are are built close to the ones that did benefit, because it doesn't look right. You've got some of them who have benefited and others haven't benefited from that. So I think that's all I have for the current update. We are still looking, obviously, wherever we can get funding for the ward, whether it's external or internal, we are fighting on behalf of residents, trying to bring that in and taking on board all your comments around Hodgehill Common. It's a very much loved part of the ward, and we're quite lucky to have a common within the ward as well. We did look at the green space on Cllr because of the how close it is to residential properties, the officer was saying that is probably likely going to cause antisocial behaviour. We are working with the police. The police has probably, I think Zora mentioned, we're all aware they've had their funding cut. I remember I was elected in 2011. There used to be approximately 600 police officers in the Hodgehill constituency. That was Hodgehill, Ballsy Green, Washwood Heath and Chardin. Now we've come down to about 100. So you can see the impact of the cuts that they've had. That's why you see less police. We do get lots of requests for police, more police presence on the Bromford estate. And we had a real nasty incident there with stabbing. I think there's an attempted murder charge that's been progressed there by the police as well. And Hodgehill Common, I mean, the lights have improved things. That's something that myself and Dan worked on with residents. Just to thank, I think it's Imran who started that petition for us. Hodgehill Common. He's also the one that reports all the fly tipping to us next to the old gates. I think he'll be more than happy that we've now got plans for that disused car park going forward. So if there's any questions, either for myself or Diane, happy to take them.
Well, it's just on that particular point, Councillor Mahmood, is that we completely understand the cost pressures on the police force. However, I am very disappointed because we have made an effort to have some attendance today amongst Hodgehill residents. I've made an active push. As you can see, some residents have turned up. I want it to, because of the correspondence we've received from yourself and other attendees, I will be saying it was a very useful meeting. However, significant disappointment because the police haven't turned up, because that was one of the main reasons. If policing is cut so short, surely this is a forum where they could reach many people via our communications back to the community. So it is, I just want to air my disappointment that we know you can't have feet on the ground, but an hour spared for this would have been useful. So I just want that on record.
Dan, if we could send an email to the inspector to ask him that we've had a number of residents turn up in the hope of speaking to the police today, and because they never turned up, that we're disappointed also on behalf of the residents. But if we can invite them to the next meeting, please. The final thing I wanted to flag was I've been approached by the surgery on Firs, the Firs Medical Centre, and they want to push some promotion and basically actively ask people to put themselves forward for cancer screening, because it is an issue that does affect the community. So I tend to, with your permission, invite them to the next board forum so they can do a presentation on why effectively we should be putting ourselves forward for cancer screening. They have the facilities available, and one of the practice managers from there will attend the next meeting.
Okay, I've got that. So I'll action those points ready for the next meeting. Anything else that you'd like to be added? Comments, questions? No. Okay. It's just dates for future meetings. So we're probably looking about 3 months.
I think we can hold 3 a year, so we would have to have the next one, avoid Ramadan obviously in March. And
yeah, so we're looking
April
about
or May.
May probably.
Yeah, May's fine.
Yeah, so
in the interim, we will have a conversation with Friends of Hodgehill Common in relation to the work on the disused car park. Okay. And obviously, Irfan, if you've got any costings of any work you've done, then just email them over to us, so we've got an understanding of what we're trying to achieve there as well. And I'm speaking to the officers next week anyway, and I'll put that forward to them.
Yeah, unfortunately, we never because of our meeting with, was it Mike Hinton, we never got to the quoting stage, but I can share anything we have done with you.
No problem. Thank you, Irfan.
Thank you. I really appreciate everyone's time.
Thank you, Irfan.
Councillor, do you wish to put a date in May?
I'll check in the diary first, and then we'll get back to you. So to make sure it's convenient for both of us.
Cool. Thanks, everyone.
And thank you, Fiona, Irfan, and Doreen. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Have a good weekend.
And you. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.